the first time you told me something you didn't like or disappointed in me, like I really was like, oh, this isn't going to work out. I mean, this is before we got married. I was like, this is not going to work out. I could still feel that entire moment where I was sitting, where you were sitting, everything. There was maybe one other time that happened, but I noticed recently, maybe some weeks ago, and I think I shared this with you, you were giving me some constructive feedback about something, and I didn't get that feeling at all. I was just taking it in, and I was like, oh, yeah, he's probably, right about that. You know what I mean? And I was proud of myself because I was taking note of how my body was feeling. And I felt safe, and I didn't feel judged. I was not only happy that, I was with someone who would give me feedback that was only going to help me. It really wasn't so much criticism. It was just really something only for me. So I appreciate that, but I also appreciated that how I reacted to it. Hey, welcome to episode 63 of Love, Growth, and Narratives. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Frederick.
And today we decided to reflect on some of the things that have changed us and reshaped us as people since we've been married.
Yeah, we want to talk about, there were some intentional changes that we made, but also there were some unintentional changes that have happened since we've been together.
Yeah, I think for me, I always think about this as a person who didn't grow up with any positive or very limited positive male role models. Didn't have to share my space with, being an only child, so wasn't used to like sharing my space, as well as the males that were there, were crap. Right. So I have to deal with the mindset that I grew up with. Yeah. And I knew that I couldn't bring that into this marriage. I mean, which is easy because you're nothing like any of those people, right? I'm glad. I avoided my whole life. That. But I knew that the things that might typically bother me or strike me in a certain way, that I needed to stop and reflect on the fact and take into consideration all those little things that are really important. It's not to say that, people who grow up with all the perfect dynamics still are great at everything, but I just didn't want to be so reactive to everything. So it really made me slow down and reflect before acting and be more of an observer and try to find balance between when you say something and when you don't. Like I literally saw this meme today or last night or whenever it was, like probably 1 a.m. in the morning.
Probably.
That said, I'm paraphrasing, but something to the effect of be okay with letting someone be in a bad mood. And that's huge for me because I'm a fixer. Yes. What's wrong? What's going on? What do I need to do? What do I need to not do? And so to just be like, let that moment happen. I might check in, but let it pass and not absorb it, which is what I do, typically. So I've learned a lot about not absorbing so much, I think. And I think in the beginning, like when we were dating or even when we got to the point where we were serious, I still was absorbing certain things. And now, I mean, it's not that I don't ever, I still do in certain circumstances, but it's a lot less. And then I'm also aware that I'm doing it. And so that I'm doing it with a little more knowledge and thought and not just being reckless with my absorption,
Yeah, and we had talked about that before because, a lot of times when someone is having a bad day, the first thing is people want to come in and try to make them feel better and, hey, what went well in your day and all these types of things and to try to make them feel better. And that normally, it doesn't work for me, and so one of the things that we've talked about and you've helped me through is if I'm having a bad day or if I'm feeling anxious about something is helping me to fix it myself, in terms of, what happened and what's in jeopardy if this thing goes wrong and things like that, and helping me to kind of work through it, as opposed to what most people do is, why are you in a bad mood? Things are great, and it's like, well, that doesn't help anything.
Right. Right.
So that's been helpful.
Yeah. I think also the 3 questions, even though we don't do it as much,
Yeah.
we did it pretty religiously at first on Sundays, and we don't do it as much outwardly, maybe, but I still think about those 3 questions.
Yes.
And so that also helps lead my week or my time, thinking about those things. And just, I don't know. I think I learned more about when to intervene and when not to intervene. Because there's a balance between, you don't want to never say anything and then, resentment comes up and all that. And then you also want to look at the bigger picture. Like, is this really, because those little things are the things that a lot of times attack couples, right?
Yeah.
But when the big things are so great, it makes the little things smaller. But the little things grow big when that's all you have. Like, the person's not really doing anything like, wow, out of this world. And so it is harder to get past those little things. But because there's so many great things. When I say little things, I'm talking little things like, you're not putting the spoon on the spoon rest, right? Because every time I see it, I have a mini heart attack. But I'm like, okay, but he did make dinner 7 days a week. You know what I mean?
Or there's some water on the counter or whatever from me washing my hands, Oh boy. Yeah.
And those are lifelong pet peeves. So
I know.
They're not small ones. They're big
know.
ones, right? I walk in there, my eyes go immediately to the wet spaces, like, there's knockers right here, wipe it.
Yeah, and then you bring me in there. You didn't see it? No, I actually didn't see it.
I think men get these shields that come out. I can only see certain things. I only see what I need to see and nothing else.
Not happy I washed my hands?
That goes back to finding peace with the little things, or I was thinking about that book too, Don't Sweat the Small Things. I mean, not that it's small that the counter is wet all the time. It's not really, but it's not anything that worth start having like marital problems over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and I've had to, and I found myself dealing with little pet peeves of my own, because I'm a highly routine oriented person. In the morning, it's almost robotic the way I go through my morning, and coming in here to the dining room, which is what I do when I first get up. I go to the dining room and, drink some tea or whatever the case may be. And sometimes I come into the dining room and my mug is not there. My favorite mug is not there. And I've gotten to a point, and I know as I'm saying this, people are like, how old are you?
Right.
But yeah, it's like, okay, my mug's not there, Maybe someone washed it. Maybe someone moved it somewhere, but I had to realize that that's my routine and not everyone else has to follow my routine. And so, it's a process.
So in regards to your cup, so since Joseph, our son has to wash the dishes on the weekend.
Yes.
He doesn't go around to the table and take up everything. No. It's just, if it ain't in the sink, it can get washed.
Or next to the sink,
Or even, next to the sink, not going to wash either.
Yeah.
But that's another story. Yeah. So I saw your cups, 2 of them, on the dining room table. And I'm like, these cups have been here for a few days.
Yes.
And I was thinking, maybe they need to be washed,
Yeah.
They were filled with,
think so.
Cacao residue at the bottom.
Well, hold on, because I have 2 mugs. I have my big one that I use for tea in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I have my regular size one that I use for my hot cacao at night.
Oh,
to relax,
So I'm thinking though that you'd like them to be clean when you use them. I don't know, maybe you think they are clean because you're twisted, but they are not clean. And so I put them, I
think
did
they're
put
fine.
them. I was like, let me remove this, okay? But
I think they're best left alone.
Apparently so.
Yes.
Apparently so. But perhaps they could stay on the counter as opposed to, and I know we're all working on the dining room table. We all have a little piece in the issue of the dining room table. But I'm thinking, why would they need to sit there day and night?
Well, because when I want them, I know where they are. I know exactly where they are. So
now, how many places would they be other than the kitchen if they're not on the? There's not like we don't have a large kitchen.
Like I said, I'm robotic, especially in the mornings, and I like for things to just be there.
Okay.
But like I said, I've gotten over a lot of that.
But would it be okay to wash it and put it back?
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right.
Because you remember back when I was at the apartment,
I do.
and you had the nerve to wash my coffee mug. It's like, who does that? What's wrong with you? And then you had it in the dishwasher, and I'm just like, why would you do such a thing?
I hand washed it and dried it in there.
Yeah, it's like, why would you do such a thing? No, I like my mug to be right there where it's supposed to be. But I'm getting past that, so we don't have to go too crazy about that. But I've gotten past that. Yeah.
I appreciate, and I do keep that in mind every time I touch it. I'm just like, okay, it's been a few days though, so maybe it's time. But so just like you start to know your person, and you know their things and things they like and that they don't like, and you get to know yourself a little bit better too. From there's a difference between like I just hate everything and I want it the way I am. I had it before. Mm-hmm. Versus, okay, there's certain things I are hard, gotta have it this way, and other things like I need to just move a little bit. And I think that I've learned that a lot in the short time that we've been together.
Yes.
I think one of the big things for me is that it's not that I don't believe in criticism, or giving someone, constructive feedback. I do. But it does impact me because I immediately go to, I'm a failure. What did I do wrong? This person doesn't like me. They don't love me. They don't, And that's just been a feeling since childhood. Mm-hmm. And so I think the first time you told me something you didn't like or disappointed in me, like I really was like, oh, this isn't going to work out. I mean, this is before we got married. I was like, this is not going to work out. I could still feel that entire moment where I was sitting, where you were sitting, everything. And there was maybe one other time that happened, but I noticed recently, maybe some weeks ago, and I think I shared this with you, you were giving me some constructive feedback about something, and I didn't get that feeling at all. I was just taking it in, and I was like, oh, yeah, he's probably, right about that. You know what I mean? And I was proud of myself because I was taking note of how my body was feeling, and I felt safe, and I didn't feel judged, and I was not only happy that, I was with someone who would give me feedback that was only going to help me. It was not, it really wasn't so much criticism. It was just really something only for me. So I appreciate that, but I also appreciated how I reacted to it. I really took note for that, and I gave myself some credit.
That's a big deal because I remember when we were doing the couples therapy, and our very first session, I came out of it excited and happy, and you came out of it sad and depressed. I was like, what the heck? Were we in the same session? Yeah. And you were like, yeah, but she's finding things that we haven't found, finding things that are wrong that we haven't found yet. Yeah. I said, great. That's why we do this. Yeah. So that we can find these things, so that we can get better, so we can get closer. Yeah. And you were like, well, what if there's other things that we don't know about? Well, I'm sure there are. That's why we go through this. Yes. That's for me, I find things that are wrong. I get excited. It's like, okay, because now it gives us the chance to get better. Right. With you, it's like, oh, our whole relationship is falling apart because of, it was like, what are you talking about?
Yes. Because I didn't grow up solving problems. I grew up, having a problem. We argued, or somebody was mad or upset, and you just waited until it subsided, but it was never resolved. Right. And so that's just what I was used to. I was like, oh, here we go. We're going to be having all these issues, and I'm going to have to just let it go in order to have peace and but it wasn't like that. So
yeah, and I guess I know from having been married before is that the problems are there. Mm-hmm. It just has to do with, are you going to do something about them, or are you going to just let them get big and that's one of the ways that I feel like I've grown is because I was the kind of person that would just let it, well, nobody's talking about it right now, so let's just, leave it alone. And those things would blow up to just massive proportions when they probably could have been solved easily had I just jumped into it early, which is why, one of the ways that I've changed, I have some days where I feel like I'm just off, where I just feel like I'm a little bit irritable. And being with you, because you check my energy all the time, which leads me to check my energy. And so that's good. And so now I'm starting to get better at checking my energy ahead of time and being able to say, hey, I'm a little irritable right now. Don't quite know why. I'm still working through it. But for right now, I'm a little irritable right now. Whereas, before I wouldn't have said it, or I wouldn't even have noticed it. That was the whole thing. I wouldn't even have noticed it. So I'm getting better at interrogating my own energy to make sure that, first off, that it doesn't adversely affect someone else. And secondly, that I can catch it in time to kind of fix it, because I know sometimes I get irritable and there's really no reason for it. Nothing happened to me. It's just I kind of wake up that way. But now that I'm, it's almost that inner Tiffany. And there's a few things where, my inner Tiffany says, hey, are you okay? And then I get to say, okay, well, let me go in and fix this. Yeah, that's been very helpful.
Well, I'm glad.
And especially in conversations, because especially like at the gym, people want to talk politics. You want to talk about stuff going on in the world. And, when some people would say certain things, I would have remarks that, wouldn't be taken as healthy for conversation, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
But because I had done that enough times around you and you had stopped me enough times, now I'm getting better at just catching myself now. I feel like you're like behind me saying, hey, don't say that. So I feel your presence. You're like, you may be nowhere near me, and I just feel your presence saying, hey, you don't want to say that. You don't want to. That's not helpful. That is not helpful.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I appreciate that, and you as well, because I think we mentioned this I've mentioned this on a podcast before, that you help me see nuance, and so I find myself, having certain discussions around the same kind of things, politics or whatever, and talking from your talk points, your viewpoint, as opposed to my old one, which is just sort of agreeing with everything, but looking at all the different layers that exist, and also talking about what I don't know and not sure of and all of that stuff. So that's pretty good. That's a great thing. I feel calmer. I mean, there's certain areas where I feel like, I miss just sleeping all day on the weekends and stuff like that, right? But the trade-off is like,
and you remind me of that too. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, I love to sleep. I have always, my mom would tell you, right? When I was little, I could go to a rock band concert and go sleep right in front and not even be bothered by that. Like, I love to sleep. But at the same time, I realized I was like sleeping a lot of my life away. I mean, I love like that I'm doing stuff. I'm doing more things than I did before. I mean, I always did certain things here and there, but now it's like all the time. Every weekend there's something that is a bit exhausting, especially teaching kindergarten, but I'm not unhappy about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just different than what I'm used to, and I got to figure out a way to build my energy, but I'm not a high energy person. I never have been, except when it comes to my class. I am. And that's probably why I'm so tired, when I'm not there, because I give like 110 there, and so I don't want to neglect you and our family or myself. So I have to try to force myself to do stuff. I just don't do it necessarily with the same level of energy. Yeah. Unless I'm well rested.
Yeah. And that's also why, because, when we first started living together, I would, look outside, after you got off work, and I'm like, why are you sitting in the parking lot? It's just like go, and there were times I would actually go out there and get you.
Yes.
And now that I see how crazy your day can be, and I can see that you're going to walk into conversation and, lively interactions, and you just need a break from it. And so now I just let you sit out in the car. I realize that that's something that you need. And so, and it did used to bother me initially, because I was like, I haven't even seen you all day, come on in. And, I've already cooked dinner or whatever. And now it's kind of like, okay, let her sit out there, let her get her,
But I do want you to know that it's not just because, we all live together and I'm walking in conversation. I did that when I lived alone.
Yeah.
Because when I walk in the house, I see all the things I need to do that I haven't done. And you know what I mean? And it's like being in my car, there's none of that. And so I've been doing that for years when I lived at home. My mom, like I think a lot of people do. I've heard other people talk about I could just sit in their car. It's like when you walk in, oh, there's that paper there. I need to do that. Oh, I should be cleaning. Whether I do it or not, it's now I have this on my mind as something I know I need to do, whether I do it or not. You know what I mean? So that's also why I like sleeping. Because when I'm sleeping, I don't dream about it. These things don't normally keep me up at night unless it's something I have to accomplish, with a deadline or something like that. But sleeping, whatever's happening, it's gone.
Yeah.
And the minute I wake up, I'm like, oh yeah. There's that and this and that and this, when I'm asleep. No.
Yeah, I wish.
So it's my escape. It's my escape. And it probably came about from, living a turbulent childhood or whatever. So I know I have to push myself to get up and all that. But I appreciate that you let me and encourage me sometimes too to just lay down, even though I know you don't want me to do it on my phone, but sometimes that's relaxing to me.
Yeah, but sometimes you need the rest because, and especially when a lot of the stuff that you're watching, is emotional, and it's like you need to cut that off if you're going to just relax,
right? Yeah,
and
I mean even with that, like you've always said early on, you talk about you have to protect what you let in to your mind.
Yes.
And so while I still like being on social media, when I first started social media, it was all about fun and laughs. And then somehow the social media turned to just real heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And so now now I will scroll past it. I'll start to read it. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to read this. I've read something like this a million times. I don't need to. And I'll skip to the fun stuff, the funny stuff. And I like the heartwarming stories. I like the reuniting story. I do like stories that make me emotional and cry, but it's like good stuff, not bad things. And so I'm starting to change, hopefully, my algorithm, because I'm like, nope, not going to engage in that. How many times I need to hear the same story? I know more. I already know how it makes me feel. So.
And especially when you can watch a funny cartoon of those couples, doing crazy stuff. Yeah.
It's just funny to see how many people relate to the same things that we're going through. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't like how they kind of twist it to make it seem like it's the man stealing the covers off the bed from the woman, which, we know is the opposite.
No.
But that's a whole different.
But I'm glad you recognize that that's what's usually in the cartoon.
Yeah, but
based on reality.
Yes, because the person who made that obviously
is a man who knows himself, who's reflective. I agree with you there.
There's no way a man would do that.
I don't know. But you've also, I know you're one person, but you also like change my. Even though I knew in my heart that good men exist, and I did know a few, I do know a few, I wasn't convinced as a whole that was the situation. And so being with you has really opened me up to more men who are like you, seeing that in my social media, hearing about that from that people are meeting people like that.
Yeah.
And men are starting to have podcasts that are positive. And so that's been like such a refresher because, the men that I had as examples, and I'm not talking about people that I dated, but in my childhood.
Yeah.
And so I knew what I wanted in a person. I wasn't sure I was going to find it, but I knew that wasn't for me. And then you solidified it, and I just can't tell you how refreshing it is. And it just makes my heart break that someone would not experience what it's like to truly be respected, seen, and loved and valued. Like, oh,
yeah,
it breaks my heart. But going back to just how it's changed me, just having to think about another person. I mean, I don't ever think I was a selfish person, even though I was the only child and my mom pretty much gave me what I wanted or needed and all that stuff. I still wasn't like selfish. I mean, you could tell me.
Yeah, no, you weren't. No, not at all.
Yeah, it's not my style. But it's still like having to think about another person. What would this person like? Or making sure you don't forget about them and what they like and what they need and what they want to do. And then sometimes I feel guilty that I have it, especially right now with report cards and I just we haven't even like watched our shows or anything.
No, we're way behind.
Yeah. So, and I recognize that, and I know it needs to happen and it's coming and stuff, and we need our little Tiffredy time. You know?
it will happen. We're gonna schedule some, at least a nothing day here and there, and sit around and watch TV and relax, which is something that we desperately need right now. Yeah. But and I do feel more relaxed with you. In previous relationships, I always felt like I needed to be doing something. I needed to be fixing something, and
you're like that a little bit, but it's just not pressure for me.
Yeah. Now it's just my own ridiculous pressure. But and there are days, like on the weekend, when I can say, you know what, I'm not getting up, which is a big deal for me because
huge.
Yeah, about 5:30, 6 o'clock on a weekend, my mind is like, get up.
Well, I know you need rest. What was it? Was it this morning or it wasn't this morning?
It wasn't this morning, it was yesterday.
The other morning, right? And so your alarm didn't go off or you didn't feel it, or I don't know what the case may be.
Yeah.
But I got up early. I've been getting up early because of conferences, and I was like, he's still sleeping. I don't know. Something about that brought me joy because I know you need rest. I could see it. And you were just resting. I mean, still knocked out. I'm like, it is 5:30 and he is still knocked out. This is unusual.
It's very unusual for me.
Yeah, not tossing, not turning, not going to knocked out. And I was like, I'm not going to wake him up. I was like, I hope he doesn't have a meeting. But I also thought he probably did this on purpose because you always set your alarm. So
and my alarm was set, and I think I may have shut it off. Been half asleep, shut it off, and went back to sleep. I don't know.
I was just like, he needs this, and it felt good to see you. I'm the one that's up.
Yeah.
You're saying so.
But waking up, and I think it was like 6:15, 6:30, something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, now I'm starting to freak out. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm late now. Of course, I'm not late for anything, but
you're late to the kitchen table in your cup.
Exactly. But I mean, it just. I do feel just better about life and a lot of things because I do feel more of a partnership with you, and it just it does help to take a lot of the pressure off. It really does.
Yeah,
it really does.
So, I think we mentioned this before about being married is like holding a mirror up to yourself, you know, and you can see the good, the bad, and the ugly. And as long as you're not offended and you're going to react accordingly or reflect accordingly, then it's a good thing. You know, I was talking to my good friend Stephanie the other day. We were talking about all these little things, about men or about our men specifically, the spoon on the counter and stuff like that, right? And we're just like, it's so funny that it seems like a universal thing with you guys. But, is it still all worth it, And yes, it's definitely, I feel like, so, I could speak for myself that the trade-offs are like, because how I'm treated every day is the number one thing for me. I don't care what kind of money you got. I don't care how smart you are. I mean, I care about those things, but it's not going to supersede anything else. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, everything's taken care. Nope. I've been taking care of myself for 50-something years, and if I got to keep doing it, I will. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put up with something, and hopefully I never get myself in so deep with something that I feel like I can't get out. I gotta stay with this, something I'm unhappy with, But luckily with us, if there's any issue, we talk about it and then we change, or we at least work on it.
Yeah.
And, I feel like I could talk to you about anything and everything. So
yeah, that's why it's hard for me to even visualize a man mistreating you because you're lovable. It's so, I could say, yeah, I'm just trying to be responsible, but it's just, you're a lovable person. So I can't quite figure out why someone wouldn't, but yeah.
Well, but we got each other, so here we are.
Yeah.
I wish I met you when I was younger, so we'd have like more time and all that stuff. But
well, I'm glad that you didn't meet me when I was younger, because I would not have been ready.
I was gonna say I probably wouldn't have.
Yeah,
been
I was.
Yeah.
I was late to the party on a lot of these things, and it wasn't until I had just, messed up enough things where I saw that I was having the same problem every time, and I was with different people. So it's like, okay, can't be them. It's got to be me. And I'm actually glad that I met you at this time, because I don't know that had I met you, 10 years prior, you may not have given me the time of day. So,
yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
This was back when I was a workaholic and, and really could not relax. I mean, right now, I relax so much more than I used to. It's not even close. So, but according to you, I still have a ways to go.
No, I mean, I just wanted you to get some rest, but
Yeah.
No, I think I'm thinking about how I think I'm a better teacher in that I don't let teaching be my whole world. So while I love it, like it's my thing, like I'm always thinking, how can I do this? How can I do, like I have to reinvent myself. I can't do the same thing every year. That's just gonna bore me to death. That's just me. There's certain things you're never gonna take out of me as a teacher. Like I'm just gonna go 110.
Yeah.
But now I do 100. I try to do 110 when I'm there.
Yeah.
And I try not, I mean, I have to do some things at home because it's just the nature of the beast. Like you can't do but so much when you got, 20 something 5-year-olds in front of you.
Yeah.
But I think I've been able to work a little smarter, and I'll also, contribute that to colleagues of mine who I've seen do this. But I think I work smarter, and so that when I get home, I could be more released, more relaxed and more available and all of that, because I used to stay really late at work, like
I
late.
I know.
Yeah, and not even like like 6 o'clock, what you know me to do, like.
Yeah.
9, 10, you know what I'm saying? Like stay late.
And talking to parents all night long. And it's just like, oh, come on.
I'll still answer them if they respond. But, I can't help it. Like to me, that's just.
And I'll still tell you how ridiculous that is.
I know, but I don't know. For me, that's really important. But I still reflect on it. Like I reflect. I think that I'm better at communicating with them so they don't need to reach out to me. Like it's just made me better in many ways. I think I'm more relaxed with these kids. I'm more aware of the days I'm not relaxed because I'm doing that at home. I'm being more aware of what I'm doing and saying and how I'm coming off. And so I do that as well with the students. I feel like I've talked to them about more things than I would before, even though they're kindergarten.
Yeah.
And that comes from us talking all the time.
Yes. And we talk all the time, and I love it. Even though sometimes you're tired when you get home, it's like sometimes I want to try some things out on you. I've just, you know, because I'm constantly reading and watching things and, you know, want to try something out on you, and you kind of give me a look and it's like, okay, all right, this is not the right time. You know, you need a moment to relax, and that's good. But, you know, one of the major things that has that I feel like I've changed is my ability to have these really uncomfortable conversations. I've talked about it prior that I ran full speed away from uncomfortable conversations. But when I realized that with you, that on the other side of that discomfort is actually bringing us closer together, not splitting us apart. Now I can find ways to, you know, enjoy and sometimes even bring up uncomfortable conversations, because I know that, you know, it's two people who love each other, who want to be together, and those uncomfortable conversations really they just make us closer. You know.
I agree, they do. And I bring that thought process to other aspects of my life, other places and other things. So
Yeah.
it's been good. It's been a good run.
Yeah, it has been.
You know?
It has been, and I honestly couldn't do this with anyone else, you know, and wouldn't want to. You know, this has been a wonderful relationship. I look forward to where we're going to go with this relationship. And yeah, I mean, it makes everything better.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Joseph just loves you to death. You know, he talks to you about things that he won't talk to me about, which is fine, you know, as long as he's talking to somebody. But yeah, it's been great. It's been absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you going down this road with me, because I know sometimes it's not easy.
Ditto. No, I mean, it's never really super hard.
Yeah.
But it's just an adjustment of, like, you know, from being alone for so long and having to only really think about myself and maybe my mom. So
Yeah.
it's definitely an adjustment. But it's easy to do that with someone who thinks a lot about you.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not, I don't feel that it's lopsided. If anything, I'm not doing enough, I think. You know what I mean? So maybe you're doing more than me. You know?
Well, and before we close this out, I want to let people know that some special, beautiful, awesome young lady who I'm married to is about to have a birthday in a couple of days. So, so happy birthday, love.
Thank you.
You know, and of course I'm going to say it on that day, but I want people to know that Saturday is going to be that wonderful day where we celebrate you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it. Right?
Yeah.
Some relaxing and
Yeah.
fun. But yeah. So hopefully in another year or 6 months we can revisit this and see, like, hey, wait a minute. Are we still in that same space? Or even better?
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. Are you still stealing the covers from me? I don't know.
Did you still leave that spoon next to the spoon rest? Okay. But
Move my coffee mug. You know.
water everywhere. We step out the shower.
I thought we were beyond this. You said in that previous podcast that you were beyond it, but you moved it again.
Oh, right. Yeah.
All right. So for this 63rd episode of Love, Growth, and Narratives, I'm Frederick.
And I'm Tiffany.
Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
Bye.